If you're a musician, you probably know the feeling. You're working really hard on something, maybe you have a concert coming up or a recital or an audition, so naturally you've scaled up your daily practice routine and you're understandably tired at the end of your session. But what if that tired feeling were to escalate into pain and numbness and loss of grip strength and became a chronic condition? For any professional or aspiring professional, this can be absolutely terrifying, as it directly interferes with what you currently do or want to do for a living. In this video, I want to talk about my current experience with something called ulnar nerve entrapment, more specifically cubital tunnel syndrome. I'll talk about how it happened to me, how I've been mitigating and dealing with the symptoms since late 2017, the process for correcting it, and preventative measures that maybe can help you avoid having the same thing happen to you. Before I say anything else though, I just want to be clear that I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. If you're experiencing adverse symptoms, definitely consult with a doctor. So what is ulnar nerve entrapment? Ulnar nerve entrapment is a condition where the ulnar nerve gets trapped or pinched somewhere in the arm, causing pain, numbness, or weakness. The ulnar nerve originates from the spine, goes down the arm, passes through a narrow tunnel in the elbow and the wrist, and terminates in your 4th and 5th digits. While the nerve can become entrapped anywhere, the most common place is the tunnel in the elbow called the cubital tunnel. You ever bump your elbow and feel that electric shock sensation and say, oh, it just hit my funny bone? That's the ulnar nerve where it passes through the cubital tunnel. Now, there are a few risk factors for developing this kind of condition, including people who spend a lot of time with their elbows bent, like bass players, for example. People who tend to lean on their elbows for extended periods of time, like if you're using the computer, and repetitive activities that musicians go through every single day when we practice. How this ended up happening to me, I believe, is twofold. First, I was playing a lot more bass than I was used to in the fall of 2017. It was my first full season in an orchestra, I was freelancing a lot, and I was preparing for taking multiple orchestra auditions. Part 2 of this 1-2 punch that really did me in, however, was my posture when using the computer, specifically when playing video games with a controller. For years, I would lean on my left elbow and play games for extended periods of time. So around winter break of that year, I was playing games far more than normal because, hey, it's a break. And I leaned on my elbow for almost 8 hours straight. And anyone who's worried, yes, I did take breaks during that time. When I was done though, I noticed a tingling and numbness sensation in my 4th and 5th digits, noticed some diminished grip strength, along with some pain and soreness in my elbow and my hand. Oh no.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So after the holidays, I went to go see an orthopedist who specializes in hands and arms. To my surprise, the doctor was actually also a trained trombonist who understood fully what I did for a living. Awesome. We did some tests and definitely diagnosed some kind of neuropathy in my ulnar nerve. But since I was a working musician, the doctor didn't want to immediately recommend surgery, because sometimes in mild to moderate cases of this, the issue can simply go away on its own with rest and recovery. I also started wearing an elbow brace at night just to discourage my arm from bending in funny ways when I was sleeping and making the problem worse. This worked for a few years, and the issues came and went over that time, but lately my playing schedule has been ramping up again, and things have gradually gotten worse all over again. I finally decided a month or 2 ago that it was time to address the issue again, went back to see the doctor, and he's now recommended surgery. Now, from what I understand, there are 2 kinds of surgery for this condition. There's a decompression surgery that releases the nerve from being pinched, but leaves it in place in the tunnel, and a transposition surgery that actually moves the nerve out of the cubital tunnel to a different part of the arm. The transposition surgery is what my doctor recommended, since if I'm gonna have to keep my elbow bent while working and playing bass for the next 40 plus years, this seemed like the best long-term solution, since after the transposition surgery, the nerve would be allowed to be loose and unpinched when the elbow is bent. The plan at this point is to wait until this winter when the orchestra breaks for the holidays so I have a bit more time to recover. At this point, you may be thinking, well, shit, I don't want this to happen to me. Is there anything that I can do so I don't run into a similar problem? Yeah, probably. Again, to be clear, I am not a doctor. but I can at least share what's helped me to deal with this for the last couple of years. The first thing you're going to want to do is try watching your posture and how you use your hands and arms, especially at things you do regularly or every day. This could be playing your instrument, using the computer, playing video games, or driving a car. At the computer, try to make sure you're not leaning on your elbows a lot, and try to maintain a neutral position when you're sitting and typing, and try to avoid slouching for long periods of time. Don't be like me and lean on your elbows when you're playing video games either. Pretty sure that's a big part of the catalyst that got me in this mess in the first place. Even resting your elbow on the armrest in your car, for example, if you drive for long periods of time, can cause some issues if you're not careful. Just be careful about resting it there for a long time and putting weight on it while driving. Warming up on the bass is actually one of my favorite activities of the day. Not only does it get me in the mindset and the headspace to play, it's a great time to develop and maintain fundamental skills like intonation, tone, bow strokes, scales and arpeggios, etc. It also keeps me from jumping right into really physically demanding repertoire on cold muscles, which can cause unnecessary strain. Also, make sure you take breaks regularly. I know sometimes there can be this mentality of superiority among musicians, flexing on each other about how many hours a day they practice. When I'm in my best shape, I have no issues generally with practicing 8 hours a day, but it's absolutely never all at once. Usually I end up playing for about 30 minutes, then I'll take 10 minutes or more off to rest and go do something else before I start playing again. Something else that's important to be aware of is that if you're not currently used to playing for, say, 4 hours a day, for example, you don't want to jump right in and play for 4 hours straight because you haven't practiced for your lesson tomorrow. This is a great way to hurt yourself. Think about if you haven't run for a while, or even ever, then you jump right into running 10 miles. You're probably going to hurt yourself. You have to condition the body to do that. And extended amounts of playing is no different from that. You just got to take care of yourself. Wearing an elbow brace at night actually worked wonders for me for a really long time. I would frequently wake up in the morning with my elbow and my forearm and my fourth and fifth fingers on my left hand tingling and numb because of sleeping on it funny. What a simple brace can do is discourage you from bending your arm while you sleep, thereby significantly reducing the chances of making existing issues worse. What I used at first that worked actually for a really long time, and this was a recommendation from my doctor, is just go to a sporting goods store and get one of those relatively inexpensive elbow pads that you might use for something like basketball you would wear on the outside of your elbow. So what you would do is just turn the pad portion around to the inside of the elbow, and this is often enough to discourage you from bending your arm while sleeping. When these stopped working for me as well, I upgraded to a brace from braceability.com that I ordered online. I'll leave a link in the description in case you're interested. This brace in particular does let you customize the amount of mobility that you want your arm from have all the way to complete immobilization. You always want to make sure you're properly stretched before playing. I might actually do a separate video on some of the stretches that I like to do in general before I play, but I also came across a set of stretches and exercises specific to cubital tunnel syndrome that I've been using to sort of help things along until I can have the surgery done. I'll leave a link to a really helpful video in the description. At the end of the day though, just be sure that you're listening to your body and taking care of yourself. Exercise is actually another thing that I think did wonders for me in managing this condition for as long as I have. Eat a good diet, drink plenty of water, and just try to take care of yourself. Anyway, do you struggle with this issue as well? Or do you have a different issue that gets in the way of what you do for a living? Did you get it resolved, or do you still struggle with it? Let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, do me a favor and give it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more bass and music related content in your recommended feeds. Subscribing is free, takes 2 seconds, and you can always unsubscribe later if you change your mind. Anyway, this is going to be the end of the video for me today. I hope you're having a really good day today, and I do look forward to seeing you in the next video. Catch you later.